Bungie has lost their gamble. So we learned again a couple of weeks ago. Actually, it's a bit of an older story, but Bungie's basically had a huge layoff, a pretty significant layoff. A whole bunch of changes that were happening to the just the company at large. And as far as we know, we got about 220 people laid off. I got 155 people that are moving over to Sony. A brand new studio and one of their incubation projects are being kind of taken off of their hands and moved to a new Sony studio. And as of now, Herman Host from PlayStation runs or is going to run Bungie. The autonomy that they had when they first brokered this deal and first struck this deal, it's gone, or it's going to leave very, very soon. I feel like there's been a lot of controversy and back and forth between Bungie whether they can sustain their position as a premier multiplayer studio, as a premier studio for live service. And I feel like because of their I'd say misfires with content over the past few years, especially with Lightfall and how people didn't take to that, this kind of caused this kind of just the end of their autonomy, basically. Like what they tried to shoot for, it just didn't happen. They failed, and now they're getting absorbed into Sony. At some point, it looks like it's very, very, very likely all the freedom that they had is going to be stripped off their hands. And on top of that, it just looks like the trust just is waning rapidly, because apparently there was like some reports about misleading Sony about their financial position ahead of them being acquired. Like they were trying to oversell themselves and overextend themselves, and they couldn't deliver on some of those promises and valuations. So it's wild. But Bungie is they getting the chains put on them, man. How you feel about this one?
About damn time. Honestly, I say this. I have such a special part of my heart for Destiny. I really loved what it was. I loved what I thought it was. I guess that's what I want to say. I really enjoyed my time on Destiny 1. Destiny 2 was good, but at the end of the day, everybody could agree with me when like if you played Destiny 1 on release, you felt like it was empty. Then DLC came out and you still felt like it was kind of like half a game. Like it didn't feel full. It didn't really feel like there was enough to do. And then I felt the opposite when I was playing Destiny 2, where I felt like there was a lot to do, but it felt um very overwhelming. But I loved Destiny 2 more than 1 because I remember sitting in a group chat and being like, yo, Destiny feels like Activision took out 60% of the game and put it behind a paywall or something like that, right? And
Mhm.
it turns out it might not even have been Activision's fault. And honestly, I think it's just a bunch of bad actors on the inside blaming, like it was just a bunch of like blaming people. And I think there is not enough transparency. And I don't mean transparency for the players. I mean like I think them boys in Bungie were lying on each other. Like, oh no, it's Activision's fault. That's why the game isn't good. All right, we
Mhm.
left Activision. Oh, actually, we need some money now because we don't have Activision. So please buy our microtransactions. All right, cool. We're gonna support you. We're gonna do what we can. All right, cool. We're now an established IP. We just got bought by PlayStation, but every DLC is still gonna cost you. The dungeons are still gonna be separate. Like, it it was I wouldn't even call it like an a la carte type of game. It literally was like, yo, anything you want to do has a price tag. It
Mhm.
wasn't free to play at all. That was like a lie. You can play parts of it for free, sure. But that game is without a shadow of a doubt like a money pit for me. And I remember
Yeah.
I sat down and calculated how much I needed to spend to catch up on all the things I missed in Destiny as a fan of like 1, and I played 2 a little bit. I think I played Beyond. I played like the ice one, the Shadowkeep was when I came back, and
Mm.
then I stopped. Going from Beyond to Lightfall, I spent like $100 on the game,
Yeah.
and even then, they started sunsetting shit, so the shit that I paid for was gone, and I was like, "What is this game? Like, what do you guys?" It feels like you guys are just trying to squeeze out as much money as possible. It didn't feel like an organic game. Like it didn't feel like a game for the consumer. Truly, I'm happy that Bungie is not looking the best right now because I think that we need to stop. We need to take off the rose-colored glasses. We need to really hold their feet to the fire because as much as I love Cade and the cool story and the awesome guns and the cool environment, I truly, truly, truly think this game will not ever get better unless we start as a like a Destiny community being like, yo,
Mm.
give me back my fucking money, bro. Like I'm not giving you no more fucking money. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. Place and that's the thing is like I hate acquisitions. Really, like I really do wish some game companies didn't need to survive by getting acquired by bigger companies. But Bungie, I don't think you are allowed to be on the wheel anymore, man. I don't think you're allowed to drive this car. I think you need to get out the car, get in the back seat, let Sony drive it for a little bit. Because like, and that's the thing, like with Sony acquisitions, usually like the people are doing great, and then Sony just gives them money. Like Insomniac is like, yo, we're cooking, bro. And they're like, yeah, you fucking are. Here's some bread, bro. I'm gonna put some more gas in the tank. Sony's like, nah, pull over. Pull the fuck over. We cannot do this right now. There's no way you've been running Destiny like this shit into the ground. And now you're talking about, and you're lying to me? The man with the money, you're lying to me? Yeah, Bungie, you're cooked. Fuck you. That's what I have to say.
Yep. No, I hear it. I hear it, bro. It's just, it's wild, bro. Because again, I feel like there's such a disconnect sometimes with how they were trying to run things. And again, we know the story with like, you know, kind of their CEO between the workers and how he was flawing things and trying to push certain stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like Flash as well for people who are struggling in the offices and so many things, and the monetization getting really, really, really bad. I mean, it already wasn't good under Activision's like, you know, helm, but even then, you know what I'm saying, when they went on their own, struck out, I feel like it was like, you know, it kind of got worse. It kind of really, really, really kind of took a turn for the worse or the more intensive. So it's tough. It's a tough situation. And I don't want to sit here and say, oh, I'm a Destiny hater or I'm a Bungie hater. I'm not. Bungie made fucking Halo. And again, as much as when does not like or does not care for Halo, I will always give them credit in the bank for Halo. But the
does not care is the one that I would choose.
Hey, listen, hey man, whatever.
I don't hate it. I have no hate for it.
Whatever floats your boat, Frank. Whatever floats your boat. You know what I mean? But the fact that this studio has basically, you know, I will always advocate for people betting on themselves in a certain way. But when the practices of you doing that and the practices of you, you know what I'm saying, trying to sustain yourself as a service becomes so, not necessarily predatory, but it just wasn't on, bro. Again, from the first Destiny, I was out from the Moon DLC. From that first one, we had to get the paywalls and stuff, and I saw they were like cutting content on the disc. I was like, bro, I'm good. And I stopped playing Destiny right there that second, and I never came back. And I'm glad, because I would have been in that hellish hole from Destiny to Destiny 2 all the way up. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I remember beating 1 and being like, that's it? And I think everybody who's played Destiny 1 has said, that's it at the end of the fucking game. Nobody sat there and was like, wow, that was awesome. Everybody was like, that might have been the first time I realized the pains of modern gaming. That right there might have been the first time I sat down and was like, wow, I feel like I got gypped for full price.
Bro, like literally, I agree. I think that's definitely one of the first big instances of just like, yo, this shit is so ass. I definitely like Gears of War Judgment's MTX was ass. I remember that being like, yo, I'm not paying that extra for this. I had to fucking barter my life away, almost sell my foot to get some Microsoft points. What do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? I'm not doing that extra shit. There's that. What's it called? And I would say Destiny, honestly, running into Destiny and realizing, yo, there's a bunch of locked content and you have to get the Moon DLC to kind of progress in a certain way. That's ass. That's ass. And I want nothing to do with it. I want nothing to do with it, bro. But again, back to them. I will always advocate for a company and an entity betting on themselves. If you can sustain autonomy, absolutely go for it. I would love more independent bodies of studios, companies trying to just chip in and put their quality into the world. I will always do that. But when your practices are kind of off, and then you go into this deal with Sony to get more capital, and you overvalue yourself by billions of dollars, apparently, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how much truth it is, take it with a grain of salt. But if you're overvaluing your services, like that's a problem, and you can't deliver on it. That's a problem. So the fact that they kind of ran into this was the heaviest. I just feel sad for the people who are working on it, but them as executives, they need that reality check. They need that reality check of, bro, you can't just run how you run and expect us to give you free money when you're not delivering, and you haven't been delivering at the level that you can for several years. You know, I don't know how the last DLC went, but again, the Lightfall thing was the biggest. It seems like the biggest kind of like breaking off point.
Did Final Shape even drop? I don't even remember that shit dropping, because I don't think anybody bought that shit.
It was July, right? Yeah, it dropped July. People liked it. People liked the send off. It was last month. Yeah, people like the send off.
I follow many Destiny people, not big people, not like huge content creators, but I follow friends of mine who play Destiny. I didn't hear shit about Final Shape. And I'm not saying that that's like the litmus test is when's fucking timeline,
Yeah.
but what I will say is that like I felt I felt like a lot of people were not. I'm not even gonna say that. I'm not gonna speculate. I'm just gonna say I ain't hear shit about that, and that shit dropped in June and it's August. I
Hmm.
don't think that Destiny. If this had been Destiny back in the day, I
Mm.
wouldn't hear. I wouldn't. Videos would be all over my timeline. I would hear all the shit about it. But like, I know a lot of friends of mine who are huge fans who just
Mm.
like fizzled out, man. And I'm a part of that. Like, I would love to go back, but I just don't see the purpose because when I went back for Lightfall, it was just fucking. I just didn't feel like I got my money's worth at all. And
Yeah.
every time I found some new cool shit, they were like, "Oh, that's you got to pay for that too." Like, what?
Mm.
Like, we're paying for dungeons. Dungeons. What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Struck a
nah,
nerve.
I understand, bro. I understand. It's serious. It's serious shit, bro. Like the stuff you enjoyed for so long, just like the experiences get so rotten. They bit off more than they could chew. Point blank, they bit off more than they could chew, and now they're unfortunately paying the price. And it's just down to the people. It honestly, again, mainly trickles down to the people who put in blood, sweat, and tears the most. The people who are developing these games, which I feel sorry for. But then everybody else, again, all the decision makers and stuff who are just like flip flopping and kind of going over their bounds and pushing some of these not not pro consumer kind of choices in their monetization strategy and how they deliver content. That's tough. And again, Lightfall was the flop, and that kind of put everything else back. It set everything back a little bit. And I think they just, again, they said it themselves. They kind of ran into the red and trying to kind of give themselves the time and space to recover from that. And wasn't enough, man. Wasn't enough. So it's just like I feel like Bungie's executive leadership and just their team is already kind of in hot water with PlayStation over the choice that they made, the overvaluation, the Last of Us stuff, which we'll talk later, and their involvement because I'm pretty sure Bungie was talking to them about the Last of Us online testing and factions online, factions multiplayer, that testing stuff, and that apparently could have been an extra problem that added into the pot, but point blank, they bit off more than they can chew, and now they're getting folded back. Now they're getting folded back. And again, for the people that are, for the executives that are still there, for the direction of the company, it may serve them well to kind of have that reign back because we know Sony is very, very, very stern and desperate on having a multiplayer experience that is top of the line and can compete with the highest levels. Since they don't necessarily trust Call of Duty anymore. Now that it could flop and go away. What I'm saying? It could flip flop and go away from their services or go away from priority any day now with Xbox. They need multiplayer. They want multiplayer so bad. And I think this was kind of part of the bargain that they knew, like, we don't fully trust you guys, but we're going to give you time to work. And if you can do it, cool. But if not, we're taking the reins. We're folding you down. We're moving these projects in. Again, they have Marathon on the way. Destiny 2 is getting, ridden out. Destiny 3, I don't even think Destiny 3 is happening. I don't think that's happening anymore. I think that's moved to the side. There's probably nothing more that's going to happen for that. I know there was a big TikTok. One of our best TikToks that we did was talking about what do we want to see in Destiny 3, and I think the first thing you said when was I don't want Destiny 3. Well, you might have your wish. You might have your wish at this point, bruh, because it's looking over, bruh. It's over. I'm sorry, Destiny. I'm sorry, Bungie, but overstepped.
I looked up the final shape on Steam because I literally haven't seen this at all, and it's funny because it got mixed reviews, and I was like, oh, okay. What are the mixed reviews? A lot of people are saying it's quite literally one of the best DLCs. And then, but everybody who's downvoting it is like, it's because Pete Parson. They're like, yo, fuck their greedy SEO. Like somebody was like, I bought the Ultimate Edition so that Pete could afford more exotic cars.
Hey,
like,
man.
Hey, I shout outs to y'all, man. This shit is hilarious. So okay, so it was a good DLC. Everybody's
So
just
super. It was a good send off, but the CEO again, it just lined his pockets, and he was going around in the studio, boasting to everybody in the elevator, like, "Yo, man, my new cars, bro, these are crazy." But they said, "How long y'all working? 80 hours a week? What? I didn't know we could do that." But the cars, though, they're banging. They're banging.
The cars, bro.
Like
all the motherfucker. I'm not gonna say it because we're recording. So yeah, I'll say that shit off stream. But yeah, I hope his drives are nice and long. I hope he gets mad mileage out the bitches.
Oh man, it's crazy, bro. But yeah, Bungie, you had your run out, you had your chance, but it's time for the reality check at this point.